Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pricharine Nirviseshasha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7. We are reading text 4. We had started reading text 4 yesterday. We are the purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, where we spoke yesterday about the 5 different rasas that a living entity has with Krishna. That each of us have, and we can be in any one of those 5. So reading on, the sage Atri was related with the Lord in the affectionate Vatsalya humor, and therefore, as a result of his devotional perfection, he was inclined to have the personality of Godhead as his son. The Lord accepted his prayer and he gave himself as the son of Atri. Such a relation of sonhood between the Lord and his pure devotees can be cited in many instances. And because the Lord is unlimited, he has an unlimited number of father devotees. Factually, the Lord is the father of all living entities. But out of transcendental affection and love between the Lord and his devotees, the Lord takes more pleasure in becoming the son of a devotee than in becoming one's father. The father actually serves the son, whereas the son only demands all sorts of services from the father. Therefore, a pure devotee who is always inclined to serve the Lord wants him as the son and not as the father. The Lord also accepts such service from the devotee, and thus the devotee becomes more than the Lord. So Krishna, he accepts any relationship. So he also likes to become the son of his devotees. So he's taken care of by his devotees. And we might say, oh, how come God can do that? Well, because he's unlimited. Of course he can do that. That's the meaning of being unlimited. He's not limited to anything. So the impersonalists desire to become one with the Supreme, but the devotee becomes more than the Lord, surpassing the desire of the greatest monist. So what happens is the impersonalists who want to go and sit in the Brahma Jyoti, they think that they are becoming one with the Lord in this way. But what happens to the pure devotees? Because they are so pure and they have such a loving relationship with Krishna, they become more than God. Why? Because of the love, the relationship they have, Krishna agrees to, listen to them. Like imagine so Yashoda Mai, she's the parent of Krishna, and she's tying him up and he's crying and he's afraid of her. So parents and other relatives of the Lord achieve all mystic opulences automatically because of their intimate relationship with the Lord. Such opulences include all details of material enjoyment, salvation, and mystic powers. Therefore, the devotee of the Lord does not seek them separately, wasting his valuable time in life. The valuable time of one's life must therefore be fully engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Then other desirable achievements are automatically gained. Because you see, we are always trying, because we have material desires, we want to enjoy. And so we work towards there. We say, oh, I'm going to do this and then I will get more money and I will enjoy. I will buy more things and I will enjoy. Or I will do some meditation and get some mystic powers. Or I'm going to get liberated. But a devotee, he gets all these things without asking, without working for them separately. The only thing a devotee does is engages in bhakti, hearing and chanting about the Lord and worshipping the deity. And then all these things the devotee gets. So, and that is the real artha, that's the real economic progress that we can, real enjoyment that we are enjoying with Krishna. But even after obtaining such achievements, one should be on guard against the pitfall of offenses at the feet of the devotees. The vivid example is Haihaya, who achieved all such perfection in devotional service, but because of his offense at the feet of a devotee, was killed by Lord Parshuram. The Lord became the son of the great sage Atri and became known as Dattatreya. So in this verse, Brahma is saying that Krishna, his incarnation of Dattatreya as the son of Atri, and then also is written that Haihaya was killed by Parshuram. I'm not sure who is Haihaya, but Parshuram is also an incarnation of the Lord. And his example is given here because he committed offense at the feet of a devotee. So we have to be very careful. When we are progressing in our devotional life, we have to be very careful that we do not commit offenses at the feet of devotees. That's the first offense to the holy name, actually. And it's an offense to the holy name because it's an offense to the devotee. Krishna takes his devotees, so he holds the devotees higher than him. So we should be careful not to offend the devotees of the Lord. Any comments or questions?
So, like you said that if we do any offense, then are there any different kinds of offense? Because we can also do like in general, like this must be for some very perfect stages, but like we for us? What kind of offenses can we do in, like, practically, like how can we offend the devotee?
Oh, we can offend the devotee by being rude to them, by finding fault in them, criticizing them, all these offenses, doing something bad to them, you know. Fault finding is one of them.
Hmm.
So then we have to be careful of these things.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So, and then Lord Chaitanya said, this is the greatest offense, and we should be very careful to guard it because our Bhakti Lata Kripa can be smashed by this offense. So we should guard it carefully by making, by being attentive that we don't offend devotees. And if we have offended any devotee, we should ask for forgiveness from them. If possible, we should ask forgiveness from them personally. If personally is not possible, send a email, call. If that's not possible, at least ask for forgiveness mentally. Yeah. So reading on, text 5. Taptam tapo vivida loka shishrikshayame adav sanat swatapasa sachatu sano abhut prakalpa samplava vinashtam ihatma tattvam samyak jagada munayo yad achakshatatam tatman. To create different planetary systems, I had to undergo austerities and penance, and the Lord, thus being pleased with me, incarnated in 4 sanas: Sanak, Sanat Kumar, Sanandana, and Sanatan. In the previous creation, the spiritual truth was devastated, but the 4 sanas explained it so nicely that the truth at once became clearly perceived by the sages. So this is the 4 Kumaras. They also mentioned as incarnation of Krishna. The Vishnu Sahasra Nam prayers mention the Lord's name as Sanat and Sanatan Tama. The Lord and the living entities are both qualitatively Sanatan or eternal, but the Lord is Sanatana Tama or the eternal in the superlative degree. The living entities are positively Sanatan, but not superlatively, because the living entities are apt to fall to the atmosphere of non-eternity. Therefore, the living entities are quantitatively different from the superlative Sanatan, the Lord. So both of us are Sanatan. Krishna is also Sanatan, we are also Sanatan. But we, because of our tiny independence, we have the tendency to come to this material nature and take up bodies which are not Sanatan. Our body is not eternal, it's not Sanatan. We, the soul, we are Sanatan. But Krishna never does that. Krishna never forgets himself. Krishna never takes takes a material body. No, he's supremely eternal. The word son is also used in the sense of charity. Therefore, when everything is given up in charity unto the Lord reciprocates by giving himself unto the devotee. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4.11. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. Brahmaji wanted to create the whole cosmic situation as it was in the previous millennium. And because in the last devastation, knowledge of the absolute truth was altogether erased from the universe, he desired that the same knowledge again be renovated. Otherwise, there would be no meaning in the creation. So what happens is Brahmaji, there are 2 kinds of devastation. One devastation is partial devastation, is when Brahmaji's night comes, when he's sleeping. So then all the lower planets, up to this earthly planets, even some of the heavenly planets, they go inside the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and only the higher planets remain. And then when Brahmaji wakes up in the morning, so everything is destroyed. So he has to start the creation again. So he again takes the ingredients from the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Then all So even the Vedas are destroyed at that time. So that's why he's saying knowledge of the absolute truth was altogether erased. But then he wants again that all the knowledge should be there. Otherwise, what's the use of the creation? The purpose of this creation actually is for us to realize that we are eternal parts and parcels of Krishna, and this is not our home, and we have to get out. That's the whole purpose of creation. There is no other purpose to this creation. This creation is not created that we should come here and live here eternally and enjoy here, because it's not our nature. As a fish, the nature of a fish is to be in the ocean. Not even if we put him in a 5-star hotel, he's gonna die. We'll give him nice massage, nice music to hear, nice food to eat. He'll say, put me in the water. And then we'll give him some oxygen tank. Okay, no, you stay here and you breathe here for time. But he's still gonna suffer. He can be naturally happy when he is in the water. Same. We are naturally happy in the spiritual sky, in the spiritual world. Why? Because we are spiritual. We are eternal souls. Because transcendental knowledge is a prime necessity,
I just wanted to ask one thing, like as you mentioned that when there is the complete annihilation, and then there is a new Brahmaji.
Yes, in complete annihilation, when Lord Brahma gives up his body, when he dies, after Lord Brahma dies, that time there is a complete devastation where the whole universe collapses, right? And then there's a new Brahma.
So then that Brahmaji also, that's what they are mentioning, that Brahmaji also wants the Vedas knowledge, and then he also does the tapa, he also does the austerity, right?
This is the same Brahma. This is in his morning. Now his morning.
Oh, this is the same. So even in the morning, everything is gone. Even in the partial one, everything is gone.
It is reminded again. Yes, he has to be reminded. So like same when we wake up in the morning, when we are sleeping, we forget everything. Everything is forgotten. Then in the morning when we wake up, it's the Paramatma who actually reminds us, hey, what were the activities you did yesterday? And you said you wanted to do this today and you wanted to do that today. So then do that. And then when we die, our sleep is a little longer. And then we are given, then when we wake up, we are in a new body. And then again, the Paramatma gives us the remembrance, oh, you wanted to do this and you wanted to do that.
Okay.
So you mean in the partial annihilation, Ms. Brahmaji is still there?
Yeah.
He's sleeping.
Yeah, that's his night. Yes.
Night, he's sleeping. Okay. Yeah.
And because here Brahma is not saying that I was dead and I've this is his, he is starting the creation right now, right? We are reading that Brahma was saying that nothing was there and he was there, nothing was there, and he did the austerity and he took the elements from Garbhodaksha, Vishnu, everything. So it's the same Brahma who's talking. This is not a new Brahma who's talking. Is that okay, Neha?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay. For liberation in every millennium of creation, because transcendental knowledge is a prime necessity. The ever-conditioned souls are given a chance for liberation in every millennium of creation. This mission of Brahmaji was fulfilled by the grace of the Lord when the 4 Sanas, namely Sanak, Sanat Kumar, Sanandana, and Sanatan, appeared as his 4 sons. So these 4 Kumaras are also sons of Brahma. They came from the body of Brahma. He created them. But they are incarnation of Krishna. These 4 Sanas were incarnations of the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, and as such, they explained transcendental knowledge so explicitly that all the sages could at once assimilate this knowledge without the least difficulty. By following in the footsteps of the 4 Kumaras, one can at once see the Supreme Personality of Godhead within himself. So the 4 Kumaras, they are incarnations of God, And then they are the ones who explained about Krishna to the sages, and the sages could understand very clearly what was being spoken. So reading on, text 6. Dharmasya daksha dukhitari ajanishta murtyam narayano nara iti swatapaha prabhavaha drishtvatmano bhagavato niyamavalopam devyastva ananga prittana ghatitum na shekhu. To exhibit his personal way of austerity and penance, he appeared in twin forms as Narayan and Nara in the womb of Murti, the wife of Dharma, and the daughter of Daksha. Celestial beauties, the companions of Cupid, went to try to break his vows, but they were unsuccessful, for they saw that many beauties like them were emanating from him, the personality of Godhead. So Krishna also appeared as incarnation of Nar Narayan Rishi. They are in the Badrikashram area, and they were born from the father's name is Dharma and the mother's name is Murti. Murti is the daughter of Daksha. Daksha is one of the great Prajapatis. Daksha is also the father of Sati, of Parvati's previous name was Sati in her previous life. So there were these beautiful women. They were trying to break the concentration of Narayan Rishi, but they were not successful. The Lord, being the source of everything that be, is the origin of all austerities and penances also. Great vows of austerities are undertaken by sages to achieve success in self-realization. Human life is meant for such tapasya, with a great vow of celibacy or brahmacharya. In the rigid life of tapasya, there is no place for the association of women. And because human life is meant for tapasya, for self-realization, factual human civilization, as conceived by the system of Sanatan Dharma, or the school of four castes and four orders of life, prescribes rigid dissociation from women in 3 stages of life. So actually this human life is meant for self-realization. Our life is not meant to be living just for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, because that we do it in our animal life also. Animals do that, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But the human life is given to us to help us realize what is the purpose of us being in this world, what is the purpose of creation, because we do have that intelligence. And so in the order of gradual cultural development, one's life may be divided into 4 divisions: celibacy, household life, retirement, and renunciation. During the first stage of life, up to 25 years of age, a man may be trained as a brahmachari under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, just to understand that woman is the real binding force in the material existence. So for a man, it is woman, and for a woman, it is man. It is not that only the woman is a binding force. So for women, it's the man who is the binding force. So if one wants to get freedom from the material bondage of conditional life, he must get free from the attraction for the form of woman. Woman, or the fair sex, is the enchanting principle for the living entities, and the male form, especially in the human being, is meant for self-realization. The whole world is moving under the spell of womanly attraction, and as soon as a man becomes united with a woman, he at once becomes a victim of material bondage under a tight knot. The desires for lording it over the material world under the intoxication of a false sense of lordship specifically begin just after the man's unification with a woman. The desires for acquiring a house, possessing land, having children, and becoming prominent in society, the affection for community and the place of birth, and the hankering for wealth, which are all like phantasmagoria or illusory dreams, encumber a human being, as he is thus impeded in his progress towards self-realization, the real aim of life. So we can know, before, when we are younger, we don't care what house we live in, what position in society we are in, or what is our status. But once we get married, then all these desires become more and more desires. The brahmachari, or a boy from the age of 5 years, especially from the higher caste, namely from the scholarly parents, the brahmanas, the administrative parents, the kshatriyas, or the mercantile or productive parents, the vaishyas, is trained until 25 years of age under the care of a bona fide guru or teacher, and under strict observance of discipline. He comes to understand the values of life, along with taking specific training for a livelihood. The brahmachari is then allowed to go home and enter householder life and get married to a suitable woman. So why is the training given from 5 to 25 years? It's just to help the boy at that time to understand that nothing belongs to us, that the Lord is the supreme proprietor. So the training is that, okay, once you get married, not that we start thinking, oh, this house belongs to me, the wife belongs to me, I should get more status in society. So that the person doesn't get carried away in the married life, the training is given before that. And the brahmachari is then allowed to go home and enter householder life and get married to a suitable woman. But there are many brahmacharis who do not go home to become householders, but continue the life of Naishtika brahmacharis without any connection with women. They accept the order of sannyas or the renounced order of life, knowing well that combination with women is an unnecessary burden that checks self-realization. So there are many brahmacharis who after they come of age, marriageable age, they don't want to get married. They continue being brahmachari, and then later on in life, they become sannyasis. They are called Naishtika brahmachari. So, because they don't want to get involved in, wife, and then getting a job to maintain the wife, and then have children and money and all that. So since sex desire is very strong at a certain stage of life, the guru may allow the brahmachari to marry. This license is given to a brahmachari who is unable to continue the way of Naishtika brahmacharya, and thus discriminations are possible for the bona fide guru. A program of so-called family planning is needed. The householder who associates with women under scriptural restrictions after a thorough training of brahmacharya cannot be a householder like cats and dogs. Such a householder, after 50 years of age, would retire from the association of women as a vanaprasth to be trained to live alone without the association of women. So before, what would happen? So he's finished brahmachari, then he becomes a grihast, then he lives in his family life, and then when he's 50, then he would retire from active family life, leave the house, because then he wants to take up the spiritual activities again, So when the practice is complete, the same retired householder becomes a sannyasi, strictly separate from women, even from his married wife. Studying the whole scheme of disassociation from women, it appears that a woman is a stumbling block for self-realization, and the Lord appeared as Narayana to teach the principle of womanly disassociation with a vow in life. So it's not that only women is a stumbling block. Women is a stumbling block for the man, and the man is the stumbling block for the woman. This is how Maya catches us. Because the attraction to the opposite sex is the most strongest. And this is the reason that keeps us here in this material world. So the demigods, being envious of the austere life of the rigid brahmacharis, would try to cause them to break their vows by dispatching soldiers of Cupid. But in the case of the Lord, it became an unsuccessful attempt when the celestial beauties saw that the Lord can produce innumerable such beauties by his mystic internal potency, and that there were consequently no need to be attracted by others externally. So because Nar-Narayan rishis were doing this austerities, the Apsaras went to break their meditation. But they saw, oh, there were so many of such women, beautiful women are coming out from the body of the Lord. So, and still the Lord is not, he's not disturbed, because everyone, all beauty belongs to the Lord. So he's not disturbed by that, so they left him. There is a common proverb that a confectioner is never attracted by sweetmeats. The confectioner, who is always manufacturing sweetmeats, has very little desire to eat them. Similarly, the Lord, by his pleasure potency, can produce innumerable spiritual beauties and not be the least attracted by the false beauties of material creation. One who does not know alleges foolishly that Lord Krishna enjoyed women in his Ras-Lila in Vrindavan, or with his 16,000 married wives at Dwarka. So people who don't understand Krishna, they don't understand that actually Krishna doesn't need anyone else to be happy. He's Atmaram, he's self-satisfied. He was there with he married the 16,000 wives because they asked him to marry him. So they were like, where will we go? So he married them for their benefit. So are there any questions or comments on what we just read?
It just seems like the woman is more like a stumbling block. Yeah, obstacle for the man.
For the man, the woman is an obstacle because...
Yeah, but it seems like more like the woman is more in the inferior, like, it's a stumbling block more than for the woman, the man is a stumbling block.
You mean the women don't get so
carried?
Yeah. Man gets more carried away.
I don't know, it looks here like the way they're showing that, the woman is, like the obstacle for the man.
We have seen also in history, like Vishwamitra, he was doing thousands and thousands years of sacrifice. And then Menka came. And
so like, it's like degrading, the woman. Like, woman is...
well, you know what? But then see, actually we are spirit souls. We are actually spirit souls. We are not man, we are not woman. Each of us over here have to engage in hearing and chanting and be situated on the transcendental platform. Do bhakti. When we do bhakti, it doesn't matter we are man or woman. Everybody is welcome. Of course, that the etiquette has to be maintained. The etiquette of dealing with each other has to be maintained. But then we rise above the bodily platform.
Could you explain more on this Nar and Narayan?
Nar-Narayan rishis, they are actually Lord Krishna and Arjuna incarnation of them. And they came to do a lot of austerities, teach how to do a lot of austerities. And they are in the Badrikashram area. Actually, after Lord Krishna, before Lord Krishna left this world, he also imparted the Uddhav Gita. As he spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, he spoke the Uddhav Gita to Uddhava, the last instructions of what Krishna wanted the world to know. He told to Uddhav, and he told him, go to Badrikashram and you speak this to Nar-Narayan Rishi. So this is what is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But I'm not sure if there is more mention about Nar-Narayan Rishi or no. Also, before we read the every morning prayers that we do, before we read the Bhagavad Gita.
I think it's mentioned, right?
Yeah, we are offering our prayers offering obeisances to Nar-Narayan Rishi, because Vyasadev also lives in Badrikashram, and so Nar-Narayan Rishi are also like, in the Badrikashram area, and so he's always saying, offer obeisances to Nar-Narayan Rishi. And but I don't know if there's more mention. At least I'm not aware. But we can keep reading. I can't remember now.
I just heard one about, maybe you can elaborate that. I just heard in one of the lectures that who was he, the eldest son of Kunti, um, yeah, the Karan, the Karan,
Understand?
the
Current.
Karan had,
Correct.
because he had that power at this time when Nar and Narayan also incarnated, he also had the power of 1,000 coverings or something. And because Krishna knew that they all would incarnate at that time, and it was difficult to break all those 1,000 at similar time, so Nar and Narayan, they did the austerity, and they one after another, they fought 1,000 times to Karna. I'm forgetting the actual name of that king at that time, like what he was born as. And then they fought and they broke his 999 kavachas that he had. They
Oh,
both simultaneously, like one after another, because they needed a lot of austerity to fight. So they fought for 999 times, and only one kavacha was left. So that was the kavacha that Karan was born with. And then the Kunti asked from him as a donation, because they couldn't break one. And I'm just forgetting why they couldn't break one, because they, one after another, like first of all, Nara fought once with that king, and he broke that one kavacha, and then he came and he sat in austerity and penance so that he again get the power. And then the Narayan went and fought, and then again Narayan broke one kavacha, and then he came and said, because it was some kind of a curse or something, I don't know what, a boon or a curse, but something like this happened. And this was one of the very important reasons why they incarnated, because they knew that it's going to happen in the next life, and they won't be able to break the 1,000 kavachas at one time, because he would be so powerful. So this was also one of the things that they did. They broke, maybe I can just look in my history where I watched this video. And because sometimes in history it goes so bad, I'm not able to bring back the video, but I'll try to look for it. It was,
Yeah, I remember also something like this was mentioned.
yeah, I just
But
heard,
I can't recollect. Yeah.
I haven't
yeah,
heard
I
Now that you're
remember the
saying about the
story, but
kavacha. Yeah.
I'm not remembering the names of the king, and like how he has incarnated, and how was he cursed, or the boon was given. I'm
But
really
I
not able
don't.
to.
But I don't know. This current came because of the last that kavacha, which was thing
Yeah, that's what they mentioned, because they broke those 999 kavachas, and the
999.
one kavacha was left, because he was given 1,000 kavachas power. So only one kavacha was left, and then Karna was born with that kavach. He was that
Oh,
king, and then he, yeah, and then Krishna and Arjuna together, they both were there, right? At that time also, they both were there.
right.
So the Nar and the Narayan both had to be there.
Okay.
okay.
So,
And also
I mean,
Sri.
that's what I have heard.
Ah, I haven't
But
heard this pastime of Nar Narayan. Actually, I'm sorry, I don't know. But also about the position of women. So you see, it's so important, the position of women, that if she wants, she can help her husband and her children, the whole household, become a spiritual atmosphere. You know, she can really help the husband to become more devotional, to become spiritual. But if she gives him the proper support, we have seen so many devotees, they specifically they get married so that the wife, because she's also a great devotee, so she helps the man so much in his spiritual life, you know. So it's not only degrading. So a woman can helps a man also when she takes up bhakti seriously, then she really helps him also to improve, to advance in spiritual life, and also give Krishna consciousness to others. Is that okay?
Yes.
You are doing, you know, you're such a nice devotee. So, you know, you're helping your family, you're helping your husband, like that. So then we have to, you know, think that it's a great responsibility also. But yes, illicit connections with women, when we don't understand the true nature, um, what's the true aim of this creation, then that becomes a stumbling block. Then people just think, okay, we just have to live here. This is what this whole life is. We are born here, we die here, and then again we have to be born here. And then, yeah, that's just like the materialistic concept. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So we can stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you for
Hari Bol.